Hey there, folks. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder to follow Sky Alert USA so you can catch this and all our future videos. And if you could support us by subscribing, liking, and dropping a comment, we'd sure appreciate it. Breaking weather alert. Historic Arctic blast grips North America. Dangerous cold, winter storms, and critical warnings. Continue. Good evening, weather watchers. This is Sky Alert USA bringing you a comprehensive weather update for Thursday, February 6th, 2026. We're tracking one of the most significant Arctic outbreaks in recent memory, affecting millions across the United States and Canada. From record-breaking cold temperatures to dangerous winter conditions, this weather event demands your immediate attention and preparation. The current situation. Thursday, February 6th, 2026. As we move through this Thursday, approximately 185 million Americans find themselves under various winter weather alerts spanning 37 states. This represents more than half of the entire United States population facing dangerous weather conditions simultaneously. The scope of this weather event is truly unprecedented for early February, with impacts stretching from the Rocky Mountains all the way to New England and affecting our neighbors in Canada as well. The polar vortex, that massive circulation of extremely cold air normally confined to the Arctic regions, has become weakened and disrupted through a meteorological process known as sudden stratospheric warming. This disruption has allowed frigid Arctic air to spill southward across North America in repeated waves, bringing temperatures that are 10 to 40 degrees below normal for this time of year. Regional breakdown, United States. The Northeast is bracing for what meteorologists are calling the coldest air of the winter season so far. An Arctic cold front is currently moving through the region, bringing with it dangerous and potentially life-threatening conditions. New York City's Central Park saw brief snow flurries late this morning, with accumulations expected to remain light at around half an inch. However, the real story isn't the snow, it's the bone-chilling cold that follows. Temperatures in New York City are forecast to plummet to just 5 degrees Fahrenheit by Saturday night, but wind chill values will make it feel like -10 to -15 degrees. These are conditions where frostbite can develop on exposed skin in as little as 10 to 15 minutes. Boston, Philadelphia, and other major metropolitan areas are facing similar dangerous conditions. The interior Northeast faces even more severe conditions. Albany, New York could experience wind chills dropping to -23 degrees or lower. Northern Vermont is expected to see the most extreme conditions, with wind chill values potentially reaching -40 degrees. Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and upstate New York are all under extreme cold warnings, a rare issuance for this region that really underscores the severity of this Arctic outbreak. Across the region, actual air temperatures will struggle to climb above the teens and single digits during daylight hours on Saturday and Sunday. Overnight lows will drop below zero in many locations. The National Weather Service offices throughout the Northeast are closely monitoring conditions and may expand warning areas as the cold intensifies. Strong northwest winds gusting between 30 to 55 miles per hour will accompany this Arctic blast, driving the dangerous wind chill values and creating brief periods of snow squalls that can rapidly reduce visibility to near zero. These squalls, while brief, can create treacherous travel conditions as roads quickly become snow-covered and icy. The extreme cold is expected to persist through at least February 11th, making this a prolonged dangerous weather event. Power grids across the region are under stress as heating demands surge. Grid operators have issued cold weather advisories asking power generators to protect their equipment from freezing and to report any concerns about fuel supplies. Tragically, the ongoing cold has already claimed lives. New York City officials report that at least 17 people have died outside since January 19th, with at least 13 of those deaths attributed to hypothermia. This serves as a stark reminder that this weather is not just uncomfortable, it is genuinely life-threatening for vulnerable populations. The Mid-Atlantic states are experiencing a continuation of winter weather impacts that have plagued the region for weeks. Light freezing rain and freezing drizzle continue to affect parts of Georgia through the Carolinas and into Virginia, creating hazardous travel conditions even where precipitation amounts are minimal. Washington, D.C. is preparing for at least 9 inches of snow accumulation through the weekend, followed by extreme cold that will persist through the end of next week. Mayor Muriel Bowser has mobilized city resources to keep residents safe, warm, and sheltered throughout this dangerous weather event. The Carolinas are still recovering from recent winter storm impacts that brought record snowfall to the region. Charlotte, North Carolina, experienced its biggest snowstorm in more than 20 years, with some areas receiving over 20 inches of accumulation. A coastal cyclone intensified overnight, bringing moderate to heavy snow and high winds to the region. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein has issued emergency declarations as up to 8 additional inches of snow could fall through Sunday in some areas. West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Maryland are all seeing significant winter weather impacts. Davis, West Virginia, reported 16.6 inches of snow accumulation, while Midland, Pennsylvania, recorded 15 inches. The Appalachian Mountains are experiencing particularly harsh conditions with heavy snow, ice, and dangerous wind chills. The Midwest and Great Lakes regions are dealing with a potent combination of lake-effect snow and dangerous cold. Lake-effect snow bands are producing heavy snowfall downwind of Lakes Michigan, Erie, and Ontario, with some areas expecting 6 to 12 inches through Friday and up to 2 feet in the most favored snowbelts. Columbus, Indiana reported 13.5 inches of snow, while Oblong, Illinois received 13.4 inches. These totals reflect the significant winter weather that has impacted the region. Interstate 90 in New York was temporarily closed westbound due to multiple crashes, including a massive pileup in Fredonia involving 60 vehicles that stretched more than 6 miles. Indiana State Police have responded to 363 crashes since yesterday alone, and that number doesn't include accidents handled by other law enforcement agencies. 9 to 14 plus inches of snow have fallen across parts of Indiana, making roads extremely hazardous. Chicago is experiencing temperatures in the low 20s with wind chills making it feel like single digits or below zero. The Great Lakes themselves are beginning to freeze over in places, with Coast Guard cutters working to keep waterways navigable. An NYPD harbor unit vessel became trapped in ice floes earlier this week and required Coast Guard assistance to break free. Iowa experienced some of the coldest conditions, with wind chill values dropping below -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Tragically, a 17-year-old driver died in Jefferson County after losing control of her vehicle due to winter weather conditions. 2 adults were also injured in that accident. Multiple schools across Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and surrounding states have been closed due to the dangerous combination of freezing temperatures and winter weather. The Deep South has experienced winter weather impacts that are truly exceptional for the region. Snow flurries reached as far south as Tampa, Florida, and honestly, that's an extremely rare occurrence. The Florida Panhandle, southern Alabama, and southwestern Georgia experienced a line of severe storms that produced widespread wind damage, along with several suspected tornadoes on January 25th. 5 tornadoes touched down in Alabama and Florida, including one rated EF2. Tornado warnings and watches were issued, something that's really unusual during the winter months. Montgomery, Alabama reported wind gusts of 71 miles per hour. Texas is facing record cold temperatures. Dallas, Houston, and Austin are all at risk of setting new low temperature records as Arctic air continues to dominate. By midday on January 25th, over 1 million people across Texas, Louisiana, the Mississippi Delta, and the southern Ohio River Basin were without power. While restoration efforts continue, around 700,000 customers remained without electricity by midday on January 26th. Arkansas capital Little Rock received 6 inches of snow, a significant amount for the region. Oklahoma saw 4.5 inches in Crowder, and Beloit, Kansas recorded 7 inches. These accumulations, combined with ice and freezing rain, have created extremely dangerous conditions across the southern plains. The National Weather Service in Georgia has designated this week as Severe Weather Preparedness Week, running from February 2nd through 6th. This timing is particularly relevant given that tornadoes can occur year-round in Georgia, even during winter months. The state experienced a major tornado outbreak on January 12, 2023, when more than a dozen tornadoes, some rated EF2 or stronger, swept mainly across central Georgia. The western states are experiencing more benign conditions compared to the rest of the nation. Though cold air is still a factor in some areas. Wyoming is seeing sunny skies with highs ranging from the low 40s to mid-60s. Casper will reach near 64 degrees today, while areas like South Pass will top out around 43 degrees. Overnight lows will drop into the 20s and 30s across most of the state. California is experiencing mild conditions with temperatures well above freezing. Los Angeles area highs are ranging from the 70s to low 80s, while northern areas like Sacramento will see temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. However, winter storm warnings have been issued for parts of the Four Corners region extending into New Mexico, where the eastern edge of the major winter storm system is bringing snow, ice, and sleet. Our neighbors to the north are experiencing their own significant winter weather challenges. According to Environment and Climate Change Canada, approximately 8 snowy days are expected across Canada over the next 2 weeks, with Friday, February 6th being one of them. Toronto is experiencing temperatures around -4 degrees Celsius, with overnight lows dropping to -19 degrees. Wind chill values are making it feel significantly colder. The Greater Toronto Area was under an orange-level winter storm warning on January 24th in anticipation of 20 to 40 centimeters of snowfall. The actual accumulation exceeded expectations in dramatic fashion. Downtown Toronto received 61 centimeters of snow. That's over 2 feet. And Toronto Pearson International Airport recorded 46 centimeters. This represents the largest snowfall ever recorded at Pearson Airport, breaking previous records. The storm caused massive disruptions to transportation and daily life across the region. Montreal is experiencing temperatures around -6 degrees Celsius, which is close to historical averages for this time of year. However, the city can expect approximately 7 snowy days over the next 2 weeks. Quebec province continues to deal with heavy snow, strong winds, and dangerous cold. Ottawa faces similar conditions with temperatures around -3 degrees Celsius and lows reaching -11 degrees. The capital region is bracing for continued winter weather impacts throughout the period. The maritime provinces are under various winter weather alerts. Environment and Climate Change Canada issued yellow winter storm warnings for southern Nova Scotia, with yellow snowfall warnings for the rest of Nova Scotia and the southern half of New Brunswick on January 25th. Prince Edward Island was also under a special weather statement. By January 26th, a yellow winter storm warning was issued for eastern and southern Newfoundland as the weather system continued its eastward progression. Calgary is experiencing temperatures of -4 degrees Celsius with overnight lows dropping to -13 degrees. Edmonton is even colder at -6 degrees Celsius during the day and -14 degrees overnight. These temperatures are accompanied by brisk winds that drive wind chill values significantly lower. Vancouver on the west coast is experiencing milder conditions at 5 degrees Celsius with overnight lows around 2 degrees Celsius. However, even British Columbia is seeing colder than normal temperatures for early February. Alright folks, here's your 3-day forecast for February 7th through the 9th, 2026. On Friday, that Arctic cold front is just gonna keep pushing south and east. The Northeast? Well, you're in for the core of the coldest air. Daytime highs barely scraping into the teens in Boston, New York City, and Philadelphia. Wind chills? They'll stay dangerously low. We're talking -teens to -20s all across the region. Now, snow squalls are going to ride along with that cold front as it moves through, bringing on some brief whiteout conditions, and honestly, road conditions are going to go downhill real fast. Those squalls will hit the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the interior Northeast. Down in the mid-Atlantic, you'll still see some lingering light snow, and believe it or not, the Carolinas could pick up a bit more accumulation. Freezing rain and sleet will continue to make things dicey from Georgia right up through Virginia. The Midwest? Still dealing with lake effect snow, especially downwind of Lakes Erie and Ontario. Cold air is going to be locked in tight across the entire eastern two-thirds of the country. Up in Canada, winter weather just keeps on rolling. Snow expected across Ontario, Quebec, and the Atlantic provinces. Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa, you'll all see snow showers, with several centimeters possible. Now, moving on to Saturday, February 8th. This is shaping up to be the coldest day of the whole outbreak for most folks. Dangerous wind chills will affect over 150 million Americans. Northern Vermont could see wind chills all the way down to -40 degrees, and big cities like Boston, New York, and Philly will be stuck in the -15 to -25 degree range. Actual air temps? They'll stay below zero for much of the interior Northeast and northern New England. Even the coasts will have a tough time getting out of the single digits. The mid-Atlantic will see temps in the teens to low 20s. The Midwest? Still trapped in a deep freeze, with single digits to teens for highs and wind chills way below zero. Lake effect snow keeps going, though maybe not quite as heavy as before. Down south, you're going to be 20 to 30 degrees colder than usual. Cities like Atlanta, Memphis, and Little Rock expect highs just in the 20s to low 30s. In Canada, extreme cold warnings stick around for most of Ontario, Quebec, and the Atlantic provinces. Wind chills will make it feel like -30 to -40 Celsius in a lot of spots. Snow will start to let up, but the dangerous cold is going to be the big story. By Sunday, February 9th, that extreme cold will start to ease up just a bit, but conditions are still going to be dangerous. Wind chills in the Northeast will go from extreme to just plain dangerous. Think -10 to -20 instead of -20 to -40. Daytime highs will inch up into the teens and low 20s, still way below normal, but hey, a little better than Saturday. Overnight lows? Still below zero in a lot of interior spots. The Midwest and Great Lakes will see a similar slight warm-up, but temperatures are still going to run 15 to 25 degrees below what's typical. Lake effect snow continues downwind of the Great Lakes. Down south, you'll start a slow climb back toward normal, but it'll still be colder than average. The threat of winter precipitation will finally start to let up across that region. And up in Canada, you'll see the first hints of moderation, but that dangerous cold just keeps hanging on. Temperatures will start a slow rise, but you'll still need all your winter gear. Snow will become more scattered and on and off. So folks, bundle up and stay safe out there. Severe weather warnings and catastrophic threats. Multiple critical weather warnings remain in effect across North America. Extreme cold warnings have been issued for portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, upstate New York, northern Pennsylvania, and parts of West Virginia. These represent the highest level of cold weather alert and, well, they indicate conditions where frostbite can occur within minutes and hypothermia can set in quickly, even with exposure of less than 30 minutes. Winter storm warnings are active across portions of the Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, and New England. These mean that heavy snow, ice, and sleet will continue to create dangerous conditions out there. Wind chill warnings and advisories are affecting the entire Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northern Plains, with wind chill values of -20 to -40 degrees forecast. Cold weather advisories have been issued for areas expecting dangerous cold, but not quite reaching warning criteria. These affect portions of the South, Tennessee Valley, and Southern Plains. Lake effect snow warnings remain active downwind of Lakes Michigan, Erie, and Ontario, where heavy snow bands continue to produce significant accumulations. Power outage concerns are rising, with over 700,000 customers still without power from previous winter storms, and heating demands at extreme levels. Power grid operators are concerned about the potential for additional outages, and rolling blackouts remain a possibility in some areas if demand exceeds supply. Transportation disruptions are widespread, with more than 10,000 flights canceled or delayed across the United States over the past 2 weeks due to persistent winter weather. Airports in Oklahoma, Texas, the Midwest, and Northeast have been most severely affected. Interstate highways have experienced numerous closures due to accidents and dangerous conditions. For a bit of historical context, this Arctic outbreak follows the massive January 23rd through 27th winter storm, unofficially dubbed Winter Storm Fern by the Weather Channel. That storm affected over 230 million people and dropped snow from northern Mexico through the southern and northeastern United States into Canada. It was described by meteorologists as one of the most expansive winter storms in recent decades. By mid-morning on January 26th, over half of the contiguous United States was covered by snow. Meteorologists estimated that around 300 million people were under winter precipitation or cold warnings and advisories at the peak of that event. Safety recommendations. Given the dangerous and potentially life-threatening conditions, please, folks, heed the following safety recommendations. For extreme cold, limit time outside to the absolute minimum necessary. Dress in multiple layers, including a hat, face mask, and gloves. Cover all exposed skin when venturing outdoors. Watch for signs of frostbite, including numbness, white or grayish-yellow skin, and firm or waxy skin texture. Be aware of hypothermia symptoms, such as shivering, exhaustion, confusion, fumbling hands, memory loss, and slurred speech. Bring pets indoors and provide adequate shelter for livestock. Check on elderly neighbors and vulnerable populations. For winter travel, avoid unnecessary travel during the worst of the conditions. If you must travel, inform someone of your route and expected arrival time. Keep an emergency kit in your vehicle, including blankets, food, water, flashlight, first aid supplies, and a charged cell phone. Clear all snow and ice from your vehicle before driving. Drive slowly and increase following distance. Be especially cautious on bridges and overpasses, which freeze first. If you become stranded, stay with your vehicle. For home safety, keep heating systems well maintained and never leave space heaters unattended. Never use generators, grills, or other fuel-burning devices indoors. Prevent pipes from freezing by allowing faucets to drip and opening cabinet doors under sinks. Keep extra batteries, flashlights, and non-perishable food on hand in case of power outages. Charge all electronic devices. Have multiple ways to receive weather warnings, including NOAA weather radio. For power outages, conserve electricity when possible to reduce grid stress. Report outages to your utility company immediately. Keep refrigerator and freezer doors closed to maintain cold temperatures. Use flashlights rather than candles to prevent fire hazards. If using a generator, place it outside and away from windows and vents. Long-range outlook. While the extreme cold is expected to moderate slightly after February 11th, the overall pattern remains unfavorable for a return to normal temperatures in the immediate future. The polar vortex disruption that's caused these repeated Arctic outbreaks is expected to continue influencing weather patterns through at least mid-February and possibly into early March. Climate scientists point to sudden stratospheric warming as the primary driver of this persistent cold pattern. When the polar vortex weakens and becomes disrupted, it can wobble, stretch, or even split apart, allowing frigid Arctic air to spill southward in repeated waves. Dr. Judah Cohen, a research scientist at MIT, describes the polar vortex as doing its best. Mr. Fantastic impression, stretching and compressing continuously, with the frigid air oozing south like dripping paint, as the tentacles of this stratospheric disruption reach the surface again and again. There is potential for a second significant cold outbreak to affect New England and other parts of the Northeast during the second half of February if the polar vortex splits, with one lobe potentially pushing deep into the United States around mid-month. However, there are also signs that the pattern may begin to shift toward more moderate temperatures by late February, offering hope for relief from this relentless winter assault. Conclusion. The weather situation across North America remains serious and potentially dangerous. This Arctic outbreak ranks among the most significant in recent memory for its combination of extreme cold, widespread coverage, and duration. With 185 million Americans under winter weather alerts and similar numbers affected in Canada, this is truly a continental-scale weather event. The key message is that this weather is dangerous and should